Kyoto Prefecture, intangible cultural heritage. Kurotani Washi. The main raw materials for washi paper are paper mulberry, kozo, oriental paper bush, mitsumata, and Japanese shrub, also known as gampi. At the Kurotani facility, paper mulberry is mainly used as it is fast-growing and may be harvested every year. The fiber of paper mulberry is thick and long, and only with handmade production can washi paper obtain its fine and stiff characteristics. Prior to World War II, the raw material for washi paper was produced abundantly throughout Japan. However, production decreased significantly after the war. Hence, the Kurotani Washi enterprise grows its own raw material. In summer, under the sunshine, the thick green leaves of the kozo, paper mulberry, grow up to 3 meters high. Of all the material cut, only about 5% will become washi. In autumn, harvest season arrives as the leaves fall, and all the Kurotani Washi cooperative members harvest kozo. From each long stem, branches are removed, and stems are piled to be cut into shorter pieces. At Kurotani, kozo is referred to as kago. Thus, this whole cutting process is called kago kokiri. With this work, the season for paper making begins. In the next step of the process, the bark is separated from the stem. To enable the bark to be easily removed, the pile of kozo is steamed. This process is called kagomushi. A large wooden tub is packed with piles of paper mulberry and set on a cauldron. This large wooden tub is called koshiki and may weigh up to 150 kilograms when packed. Previously, almost all the houses in Kurotani had one of these large wooden tubs. The tub is then set upside down on the cauldron and steamed with boiling water for 3 hours, and then another hour of steeping is required after the fire has been turned off. Kagomushi starts at the break of day and is done consecutively 3 or 4 times in a day. When the tub is removed from the cauldron, the surrounding area is filled with the sweet scent of kozo. A steaming box may also be used instead of the traditional wooden tub. After the first lot of kagomushi, the peeling off of the bark begins. This process is called Kago Hege. Whilst the paper mulberry is hot, the bark may be easily peeled off just by twisting the edge of the stem. During this process, the next lot of kagomushi begins. Previously, the whole family, including the elders, joined the Kago Hege process. This peeled bark becomes the raw material for washi. The bark is then dried under the eaves, and since the bark has black spots, it is called Kudo Hoshi. Processing the raw material for washi has only just begun. The dried bark is then laid in the shallows of the river for one whole day. To soften the bark, it is then massaged by foot many times in the riverbed. This is called Kagome. In the old days, it was mainly done by barefoot housewives, with the hem of the kimonos raised. Today, boots are worn during this process, but still the water is freezing cold. After the bark has been softened, the outer skin of the bark is scraped off using a very small knife. To make the finest paper, any small damage of the bark must be removed, leaving only beautiful fiber. This process is called Carcosalloyd. Of all the processes in paper making, almost half of the time is spent creating this fine fiber. The raw material at this point is called shirokawa. Once more, the shirokawa is washed in the river and then again dried. Exposed under the sunshine and beaten by snow and rain, the white bark becomes more white and beautiful. This dried bark, shirokawa, is now ready to be used for paper making at any time. During the long winter season, shirokawa is made and preserved depending on each family's circumstances. It is commonly said in washi paper making that much more time and effort are required during the processing of the raw material than in the actual making of the paper. Now, the actual paper making process begins, kamitsuki. As the dried shirokawa is stiff and hard, it is first put in water for approximately 2 whole days. This process, nigoshirai, softens the fiber, making the boiling process easier. A bundle of the shirokawa is then gently loosened into a cauldron filled with boiling alkaline water. It is then boiled for approximately 1.5 to 2 hours, being stirred periodically. This process, kagotaki, removes the impurities of the fiber and softens it as well. If it boils for too long, the fiber will be damaged, losing gloss and stiffness when made into paper. If it is underboiled, then the impurities will not be fully removed. While washing off the alkaline from the fiber, any impurities that are left are also carefully removed. This process is called midashi, and it is very time-consuming. Clear water without any impurities is required, and during the cold winter, hands crack in freezing water, making the process even more difficult and harsh. However, without thoroughly removing the impurities, beautiful paper cannot be made. Further, This process cannot be automated, for all this effort makes Kurotani so special. The fiber is then beaten. This process is called kami tataki. In the past, it was done by hand using a wooden stick. As the process was overly simple, Kawatsuki Yuta was sung at this time. Today, however, the fibers are put in a stone mill and beaten by a large wooden mallet. Instead of singing Kawatsuki Yuta, only the rhythmic sound of the wooden mallet beating the fiber echoes in the workshop. After beating the fiber with a wooden mallet, it is then processed in a machine called beater for approximately 10 minutes. The beater has gear teeth which enables the fiber to be further loosened when it passes through the teeth. Finally, the raw material, shiso, is ready for the actual paper making process, kamisuki. For paper making, plant mucus made by smashing the root of tororo aoi is required. This mucus-like substance is widely known as neri, but at Kurotani, it is referred to as Sunnah. The smashed root, with water added, is then filtered through a fabric cloth so only the mucus remains. Neri plays many important roles in the making of handmade washi paper. The fiber is then dumped in a tub filled with water. Then it is spread out evenly in the tub with a bamboo comb called manga. Manga is a unique name used at Kurotani, where other regions may call it Magua. The plant mucus, neri, is then poured into the tub and mixed. The neri keeps the fiber spread out evenly in the tub. Paper making. A screen made of bamboo called su is set between two wooden frames. Firstly, a small amount of the solution is scooped and it drains very quickly. The following scoops are scooped more deeply to obtain more solution. The frame is then lightly shaken back and forth, right to left. After the screen has strained the solution, any excess amount of liquid is drained off. The upper frame is then removed. When making thick paper, the number of times the solution is scooped increases. The thickness of the paper is highly dependent on the intuition of the craftsman. It is said it takes about 3 years to learn to make handmade paper and 10 years before becoming a highly trained professional. Since papermaking, kamiseki, requires much patience and thoroughness, it is said to be a woman's job, reflecting such characteristics. The character and feeling of the craft come through in the final product. The wet sheet of paper is removed from the frame and is placed on a wooden board. It is then pressed the following day to remove excess water prior to drying each sheet. This pressing process is called oshikake. The compressed pile of paper is then peeled off one by one and pasted on a drying board at a drying ground located on the mountainside. Neri again plays an important role, enabling each sheet of paper to be peeled off without sticking to other sheets. This drying process is called kamitsuke. Today, a brush made of horsehair is used to paste the paper onto the drying board. A gentle rub with a leaf of camellia, which can be found near the drying shack, will give gloss and smoothness to the paper. The finest drying boards are made of the ginkgo tree, which leaves very slight or no evidence of the wood grain on the sheet of paper. On the other hand, to obtain a wooden grain texture, drying boards of pine are also used. As Kurotani lies in a valley, the duration of sunshine is rather limited. Thus, even short intervals of sunshine are sought. Kurotani is a distinct and beautiful sight when the drying boards are lined in a row on the mountainside. The sheets of paper drying under the sun are bleached naturally and obtain a gloss, making them more elegant and strong. Finally, the process comes to an end when Kurotani paper is removed from the drying board. Each sheet of paper is then inspected, rejecting any sheet which is not up to standard. Kurotani Washi is made through such a long and arduous process. Momigami is washi paper which is rumpled to create a textured grain. Each sheet of paper has its own unique texture, which makes it softer to the touch. Very few experienced artisans give the paper this texture by rumpling the paper by hand. As it is done fully by hand, it cannot be mass-produced. The stiffness and durability of momigami make it useful for book covers and other washi products. Those who have retired from papermaking in Kurotani continue to be involved in making products with washi, such as postcards and specialty items. Kurotani has been a washi-making village for a long time. Though Kurotani has not been a large manufacturer of washi paper and washi products, it is one of the few places that has preserved the traditional way of handmade washi paper for many years. Kurotani Washi is beautiful, unique and special. and for more than 800 years, the people of Kurotani have worked with the natural elements and appreciated its blessings as they carried on the art of making washi. Today, Kurotani Washi is still made in the old, time-honored fashion.